Now listen to this. The Trump administration isn't playing games. Russ Vought, the OMB director, sent a memo to agency heads warning them to brace for mass firings of federal employees if the Democrats don't get on board with the House-passed CR. That's right, mass firings. The memo says, and I quote, programs that did not benefit from an infusion of mandatory appropriations will bear the brunt of the shutdown. Translation, Democrats, if you want to play hardball, that's fine. You're going to feel the heat, and so will your bloated bureaucracies, and that's exactly what's going to happen tonight. But what are the Democrats demanding? Well, you're going to love this. They want a permanent extension of the temporary Affordable Care Act subsidies from the COVID days because apparently nothing screams emergency like locking in more government handouts forever. Of course, that's what they want to do. They're also pushing to reverse the Republican-passed crackdowns on Medicaid for illegal immigrants. Illegal immigrants, that's
in other words, Spain
Should President Trump be nominated for the Nobel? Listen up, you movie pictures. Since you seem to think our tactical shoulder bags were too damn expensive, I'm carrying a new thing today. What a rookie. You're carrying four different things. Wait, are you wearing four holsters? Yep. You can't even tell, right? It feels like nothing's there. Here, try one.
This is the 12-letter holster by MCG Tech. Strap it. Remember that.
it's ticking. September 30th, midnight. Tonight, that's in 4 hours. If Schumer doesn't help Thune clear the filibuster on the clean CR, the government shuts down, and mark my words, the American people will know who to blame, and it's not the Republicans. They've done their job, but the Democrats, who are so desperate to appease their radical base, they're willing to grind the country to a halt. J.D. Vance said it best. If the Democrats refuse to pass this clean CR, that is exactly what is going to happen. We're going to shut it down, and the Democrats will bear the responsibility for it. So, Chuck Schumer, you hear that? The American people are watching. And that's tonight's first word. Vinnie Mac, shut down in 4 hours. And, I said earlier today, because of Schumer the last time caving, and he's never stopped getting an earful. And I don't think people understand the position Russ Vought is going to be in if this thing goes past 12 o'clock. And I want to cover a little bit of that here at the time we have left in this segment. But I can't wait for 12:01 tonight. And I say let Russ cook, because I think he's ready to use. He knows more about the budget and what he will be able to do tonight than I think most people have any clue about. So, and I don't think the Democrats realize the power. This one is different. I even have to read up on this because we talk about these CRs from the government, what really happens all the time. This one seems different to me with him at OMA.
This entire matter is so indicative of just how disconnected and off base the Democratic Party is. And you think about Schumer and, the hypocrisy that he's, excuse me, you think about the hypocrisy of Schumer from the last CR when they forced tried to guilt the Republicans into passing everything in and no one stood in the way. Here's a party that is so out of touch with policies. And this is just another major indication of just how out of touch they are. And when you look at the polling, you would think they'd be waking up to some of this stuff. The polling is clear. Trump's on the right side of just about every major issue. And this calculus, which I'm not that upset over this because I feel like every time they make a calculus like this, it helps the Republicans and it's going to help them in the midterms, because this is just atrocious. I was battling with some folks, nuts by usual, on Facebook about this and saying, hey, do you know what they're trying to add here? They want to fund, illegals and Medicare for illegals and all this other stuff. They're like, no, that's not in it. I'm like, well, it is. All of this stuff is in what they're asking for, in addition to other stuff that might, maybe warrant a progressive left-wing support. But the rest of the public, at least on the left, they don't understand that these things are in it. And if they really did, they'd be like, well, Jay's just fun. So I think they're just hurting themselves. Let them hurt themselves and bury themselves.
Yeah, I don't think most people understand the position that Russ Vogt is going to be in at OMB tonight at 12:01. But let me just bring you up to speed where we are. So, John Thune said he was just going to continue to bring this to the floor and make them vote on it over and over again. And so, as of the last vote, Fetterman of Pennsylvania broke with Schumer. He voted yes to keep the government open. Cortez Mastro of Nevada, she did also. And Angus Burger King of Maine, he voted yes. So you have three Democrats who have broken ranks with Schumer to vote yes, but on our side you have Rand Paul who voted no. So I believe the last vote was 55-45 to keep the government open. They need to get to 60. And Rand Paul voted no, well, because Rand Paul doesn't like any spending. He states, this is only in the Senate, so that's what we're talking about. So Massey doesn't come into play here. Rand Paul doesn't vote for any of these. He doesn't like CRs. He wants to have 12 appropriations bills. He wants to cut government. He wants to do what they're supposed to do. He doesn't like CRs. And by the way, we shouldn't like CRs. This one, though, is a little different. It's only 7 weeks. It's clean. And so I read this article today. I don't have time to go through the whole thing. But this is in something called the Government Executive, and it's entitled The Ultra Risks of a Routine Shutdown. And that's what I think people are thinking. I mean, we're used to these shutdowns, and people think, okay, we know how this goes. But according to Donald Kettle, who wrote this article, he says if Democrats risk a government shutdown this week, they may unwittingly play into the most dramatic shift of power to the executive branch in recent history. And he says it's easy to think about the prospects of this government shutdown as the next act in an old tired play that we all know about. What's looming this time is far, far different, with incalculable stakes for the Democrats. It could amount to the most dramatic shift in separation of powers in living memory. That might sound raving, but consider this. Without a new budget passed on this not-so-happy fiscal new year, only accepted parts of the government can operate. The Anti-Deficiency Act prevents spending on anything else. He says, here's what the looming shutdown this time will be far, far different from the previous ones we had in 95, 2013, 2018. According to reports first published in Politico, OMB Director Russ Vogt instructed agencies to prepare RIFs for all employees without separate funding and whose work, quote, is not consistent with the president's priorities. The IRFs could apply even to employees working in accepted programs. Just a momentary lapse in appropriations, a shutdown that lasts even minutes or hours, would give Vogt the power to tell agency leaders to move past the usual furloughs, temporary non-duty, non-pay status, right directly to RIFs being permanently fired. Vote to choose the programs that the administration has been wanting to eliminate and give a very big haircut to others. I'll tell you what else he can do when we get back. Live from Studio 6B. Waiting for Turning Point USA. This is the Turning Point live from Utah State. We will go there as soon as it's live. We'll bring it to you in its entirety. We're back right after this. All right, chat. What's going on, chat? It's going to be all right, we got you for another 12 minutes here, chat, before we go live to Utah State. Thank you, everybody, for jumping in.
Yep. Sorry about that. I think I swallowed a horsefly. Couldn't clear my throat.
What's going on, everybody in the chat?
That was a great piece you read, and it's amazing because I always find like Trump's and a Trump's team, they have something up their sleeve that will completely destroy whatever the Democrats think they're trying to do. You know, because
Did you see the reporting today? Did you see the reporting today that at some point when Trump had Schumer and Jeffries in the office, he tried to offer both of them. He reportedly tried to give Schumer and Jeffries Trump 2028 hats.
it's too much, man.
And then he
out, and I would really recommend to everybody, if you want to see some great content and some good movies that are meaningful, go to angelstudios.com/RAV or RAV. There's the QR code.
Yeah, you can just scan the QR code right there. That's interesting, man. I like it. They shoot beautiful. It looks really nice on screen. That's one of the things I really like about what they do is that actually production-wise, it really looks good. So, because some of these docs, you see people do these docs, and it's just like it's painful to watch. Well, that's not the case here. It looks good, like they know what they're doing. So,
Like Oliver Stone. I mean, in the JFK movie, it's a documentary in art. Fantastic.
Yeah. All right. Angelstudios.com/RAV, or you can scan the QR code that we just had up. So getting back to the budget, and before, I don't know how much longer we have here before this event starts, but I want to go over this because I don't think people understand at 12:01 what's going to happen tonight. Again, from this governmentexec.com article, just a momentary lapse in appropriations, the shutdown that could last minutes or even just hours, is going to give Russ Vogt the power to tell agency leaders to move past the usual furloughs directly to IRFs being permanently fired. Vogt can choose the programs that the administration has been wanting to eliminate and give a very big haircut to others. The result would be a dramatic, instantaneous shift in the separation of powers. While the purse is empty, meaning we don't pass the appropriations bills, OMB would seize the power of the purse from Congress. The administration could choose to prolong a shutdown for as long as it liked through poison pills in the negotiations, and comb through the government to flatten programs that it's been trying to cut. With this prospect looming, the administration has little incentive to do more than shed crocodile tears over a shutdown. And it looks like that's exactly where we're headed. Again, last vote was 55-45. 3 Democrats have broken ranks with Schumer, Fetterman, Cortez Masto, and Angus Burger King of Maine, and Rand Paul on our side obviously voted no, as he always does on these CRs. Now, last thing, and then we'll get to some news that Vin has. Russ Vogt has already put out a memo tonight, about 8 minutes ago. Memorandum to the heads of executive departments and agencies. Status of agency operations. Appropriations provided under the full-year Continuing Appropriations and Extension Act expired at 11:59 tonight. On September 19th, the House of Representatives passed the clean continuing resolution that would fund the government through November 21st. Unfortunately, Democrat senators are blocking passage of H.R. 5371 in the Senate due to Democrats' insane policy demands, which include $1 trillion in new spending. President Trump supports passage of H.R. 5371, but it is now clear that Democrats will prevent passage of the clean CR prior to 11:59 tonight and force a government shutdown. As such, affected agencies should now execute their plans for an orderly shutdown. It is unclear how long Democrats will maintain their untenable posture, making the duration of the shutdown difficult to predict. Regardless, employees should report to work for their next regularly scheduled tour of duty to undertake orderly shutdown activities. We will issue another memorandum indicating that government functions should resume once the president has signed a bill providing for appropriations. Agencies should continue to closely monitor developments, and OMB will provide further guidance as appropriate. We greatly appreciate your cooperation and the work your agencies on behalf of the American people. So that out from Russ Vogt tonight around, I said 15-20 minutes ago. So at 12 o'clock, Vin, it's going to be a whole new world for the federal government if they choose to go that route.
Yeah, I've been laughing while you're reading that because it's just amazing. Like all the effort that Trump has made and Doge has made to shut things down that are horribly wasteful, and they got some of it done, but they didn't get all of it, obviously. And here are the Democrats. So maybe they realize this, maybe they don't, that they're playing right into our hands. And I love it because it gives us a path to actually shut those things down and permanently fire people from agencies that we know are either still all woke or a waste of time or waste of money and all that kind of stuff. Well, I'm laughing because this is funny. Like, they just keep stubbing their toe and doing things to appease a fringe group. And they don't realize the amount of damage they're doing to themselves. And, it's like, let's be quiet. Let's not even talk about it. Let's just let them do it. They're just taking themselves down.
Yeah. Well, we're going to see. There's nobody who knows more about how the budget works than he does. So it's going to be very interesting to see if they actually take care of what's been granted to them. We've talked about cutting spending. We've talked about Doge. We've talked about Doge 2.0. Well, this is like Doge 2.0 without Doge having to be there and Elon Musk having to be there. Russell Vogt could do it single-handedly, seemingly on his own. Now, he was on with Fox Business before, and he said up to 300,000 bureaucrats could be fired overnight tonight as a start. So we'll see where it goes from there. So, all right, let's take the break. We're still waiting for Utah. I believe it's Utah State. This is the turning point that's going to happen. Turning Point USA's event tonight. And as soon as they go live, we will take you there live. In the meantime, when we get back, if we have any more time, Vin will do a couple stories that has his interest today. Live from Studio 6B on a Tuesday night. Man, let's hope this guy decides to fillet the size of this government tonight.
Oh, man.
Over the next however many days he has.
That's why I said I'm not going to lose any sleep over this.
I was streaming before, and I said it wouldn't surprise me at 11 o'clock or 11:30 if they take one last vote, and you get 5 or 6 or 7 Democrats who are smart enough to know what's about to happen and break ranks. It would not surprise me.
Well, that's right, and I think that's part of the intent. Yeah.
Somebody's got to be telling them, do you understand the power we're giving this guy and what he can do? At 12 o'clock in 1 second. Literally 1 second.
I definitely feel like, making a phone call. Dear Chuck Schumer, do you realize the amount of power you just gave to the Trump administration to clean out stuff that you've been dogging? Oh, man. This would be priceless. This really would be a great moment. Using a bad thing, which is, government shutdown, and turning it into something great. Wow. I hope you're right about that. Is everybody out there in social media land? Janice Hannon, good to see you out there.
Again, going back to this guy's article, I didn't get a chance to get to the whole thing. He says, this would be a bigger deal than the Musk-led Doge at the beginning of the administration. It would be bigger than Schedule PC or Schedule G. It would give real and very sharp teeth to Project 2025's ambitious goal to turn the government upside down.
The challenge I see with all of this is all that stuff being on the good side. Does it slow down Social Security payments and things like that?
Nope.
It does not affect Social Security payments.
Nope. Social Security, military, none of that.
Yeah, because somebody was talking today, and I heard they were saying about the military and Social Security, and I thought the same thing you did. It's like, wait a second.
There's a hierarchy of things that get paid as the revenues continues to come in. I think the VA, Social Security, the VA, military. I don't have the order in front of me, but
yeah. Steve Bannon is hoping that Russ gets to do his thing too. People have been talking about that, and I'm totally with Steve on this one, man, big time.
All right, 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B. We're going to take you live to Utah State. Turning Point. This is the Turning Point event tonight. It's
Hey, if they don't agree to it now, I just tell Israel, fine, now finally go finish it and kill all the leaders and wipe them out, and then we'll go do this anyhow. Or you can agree to this now, and we won't do that, and you guys will save your butts and you'll live a few more days. And I feel like it's the same thing with this shutdown. That is amazing. And I think he uses the same tactics with these pharmaceutical companies, where he's going to lay the hammer down. No more, everybody's on your payroll, pharmaceutical company. He's going to be using the tools that he has to inflict the changes that he wants. So there's such a common thread, in how he's dealing. Because if he loses something, you really find out he actually wins. If Hamas says they're not going to agree, which, who cares at this point? They're just a short period of time away from wiping them out anyhow. So I think that's the position he's taken, and you can see the same thing with this budget deal. What do you think about that?
I mean, it really has been an amazing 24 hours. I was saying to people were talking about his speech at the generals today, the military, and they were saying that he seemed like kind of off his game, and I didn't think he seemed off his game. He was telling stories. He loves to tell stories. Specifically, I think he loves to get into it when he's in front of these generals and military leaders. Number one, I think he thinks he's smarter than all of them, which he probably is, and understands a lot of this better. But he likes to get off into these tangents, and sometimes it's like, okay, come on, let's get refocused. But I mean, I enjoyed the press this morning. He did sound he was like a little, maybe having a little bit of a cold. And he joked with Bobby Kennedy, who sneezed during the Pfizer announcement, and said, Bobby, I hope I didn't just catch COVID there. And then, of course, turned to somebody from Pfizer and said, give me a Paxlovid, which I was thinking, no, Mr. President, no. Stop with the Paxlovid. It's terrible. It doesn't work. But my point is, it's been a heck of a 24 hours when you think about what he's accomplished. Who else could have accomplished it? He ushers in this major peace deal, or at least a platform for the deal. He has Bibi there. He does this amazing, he does this amazing press conference and basically said, basically owning it, saying, it's my way or the highway here. He's had his differences with him on certain things, but obviously he's still a huge supporter. He obviously wants to bring peace to the region. Now he's taken on drug prices. He's done some AI things this week to protect children. He spoke to the generals this morning. I mean, who else could have a 24 hours like he has had here?
We say this every week. I can't believe it, 24 hours. Well, let's give some kudos to the people running these agencies below him. We've seen Kash Patel step up, trying to get, grilled and lied about and everything you could in front of Congress, and he was just awesome. It's exactly sort of the vigor you want from your people, especially in this Trump administration. And Pete Hegseth, he basically came out today and said to all the generals, and many of them, were the ones that were caving with all the stuff that was going on with the Biden administration and, the woke stuff and all the nonsense. And I just love what he had to say, because if you think about it in a real sense as Americans, and if I was sitting around with a bunch of my buddies, I'd be saying the same thing, which is I feel safer. Why do I feel safer? I feel safer because the guy leading the military is basically saying, wake up, grow up, and get tough. You're supposed to protect us, and you need to be in great shape, and we can't have any of this nonsense going on. This is war. It's life and death. So I feel, much better hearing his speech, which I thought was, it was tough, and it was manly in a sense, and, very macho, but he said all the things that I would want from people that are protecting me. And
Bless your heart.
David, and our families and countries and all those types of things. You don't want people in subpar shape because of some home policy to be on the front lines trying to save you. None of us want that. In fact, so take a walk. Like a lot of get out. Exactly. And to calling all these generals and the leaders and call them on the carpet. And he basically said, you can do it, and if you don't want to do it, you're gone. And that's where Trump is taking that position from the top down. That's his leadership style. Kash Patel's doing it. We're seeing it with other agencies. And Pete Hegseth had his moment today. So good job, Pete, getting in front of everybody and giving them a stern whooping, which is what he did.
And here's what the got out of it. I saw this guy, John Harwood, who really is a total head case. I think he used to be on NBC or CNBC, or he used to try to claim he was, nonpartisan reporter. He tweeted out today, Pete Higgs makes it clear that if he had his way, the U.S. military would have no blacks in leadership positions and no women at all. That's what he got out of it. So Pete Higgs says no fat, lazy people in the military. We want the finest of the finest. We want the most in shape killing machines ready to win and be the most fiercest that we can be. And this moron takes out of that he wants no blacks or women. That's what the media heard today.
Well, that's what they do. Look at what they got out of Charlie's assassination. Look at what they get out of everything that happens. They find some ridiculous angle that really is so stupid and off target to talk about. Charlie talked about hate, and this is only about, black people and women. It's ridiculous. It's about our safety at the end of the day. I do want to correct one thing that I said. I was talking about this whole thing with Hamas and the fact that it's going to end either way. I want the hostages back, and Trump's making an attempt right now to tell Hamas, look, this is your last chance. Release the hostages, and we can figure this thing out. I just don't think Hamas would do that no matter what, and drawing a line in the sand is what he needs to do. But if for some reason they don't do it, I mean, what choice do we have but to wipe them out? And that would put the hostages at risk, which is why we haven't done that. But something's got to get done. So I don't want to disregard the lives of these hostages and why this peace deal is meaningful, because it is. And I just wanted to clarify that, because I don't want to sound like hey, I don't care about them. I do. I think at some point though you just have to draw a bit of a line in the sand. They have tried everything. These people just won't cooperate. They don't care.
Yeah. All right, a couple things to bring you up to speed on. We're waiting. We thought it would have started already, but we're waiting for Utah State. The Turning Point. This is the Turning Point event featuring Speaker Mike Lee, Jason Chaffetz, and others. We're waiting for that to go live. We'll bring it. Okay, I just got word we're about 5 minutes out. We'll bring it to that. In that 5 minutes, let me tell you a couple things. U.S. Senate will vote tomorrow on reopening the federal government. John Thune confirms tonight. Here's his quote. I'm hoping enough reasonable Democrats over there. We picked up 3 tonight when we voted. We're going to vote on this again tomorrow. Hopefully we'll pick up some more. And eventually we'll get enough to pass this thing in the Senate to keep the government open. But this was all unnecessary. This was all done to satisfy their left political base and Schumer's fears. I mean, this guy is somebody who is running scared, obviously, every single day from AOC. And I think he's absolutely right about that. Yeah, Chuck Schumer's running scared from AOC, and he's running scared from the last time he caved, and he's been getting an earful from the radical socialist left ever since then. But the damage will be done, and this is what I'm saying. We let's just hope that OMB decides to, as this guy in this article today, who I had never read before, and government executive, his name is Donald Kettle. Let's hope he's right. That all Russ Vogt needs is 12:01 tonight to be able to do what he has to do. Whether they vote on this tomorrow at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m., it doesn't make any difference. The damage will hopefully have been done as far as to them, and hopefully for us, he can take a slashing to the government. So, one other thing, while we have time, Vin, because you were just talking about Hamas. John Spencer is the chair of war studies at the Madison Policy Forum, and he looked at Trump's plan, 20-point plan yesterday that the White House put out. There was a lot of leaks yesterday early in the morning on Trump caving and Trump giving, Judea and Samaria. There was all these leaks coming out of what this was going to be. Well, John Spencer says, in my view, the 20-point plan is the most comprehensive proposal put forward to date for both ending the war and setting durable conditions for peace. It directly achieves Israel's objectives in the campaign against Hamas, the immediate release of all hostages, the demilitarization and de-radicalization of Gaza, the establishment of a Hamas-free governing structure, and long-term security assurances for Israel. What sets Trump's plan apart is that it also offers a genuine path to peace grounded in conditions that actually reflect realities on the ground. It directly addresses the real concerns of the Palestinian people, including assurances against forced displacement, a clear path forward for governance, and international support for rebuilding. The plan envisions coexistence tied to tangible
Stop wasting money on painful dentist visits. Try these custom snap-on veneers instead. Do you ever feel embarrassed about your teeth?
So far, we're different. And I'll start by saying this. We've done this now 22 years, 2003. So 22 years.
What's that?
Star Spangled Banner, yellow
Who's this broad?
over the land of the free. In the home of the brave. Thank you all so much. I'm so happy to see you all here, truly. Looking out is incredible. And I know that it's been a month for everyone. And the fact that we all get to be here today is really something that means a lot to me. But I thought that, coming out of the Star Spangled Banner, which of course right now feels empowering, feels solemn too, I thought that we could sing something else together. And I'm sure you all know the words. So if you know it, will you sing with me? Okay, good. Y'all, courage is contagious. You guys are doing a good thing. Thank you so much for being here. Amen. If tomorrow the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away.
Freedom.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I'm glad we stand up next to you and defend her still today.
America.
'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the hill lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA. There's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Yeah.
Y'all sound so good. We got work to do. We will not be deterred. We will carry forward this mission. God bless y'all. God bless America. God bless Charlie Kirk. Thank you guys so much.
Please welcome to the stage Chapter President of GtaV USA, Utah State University, Caitlin Griffiths.
Everybody, wow, this is such an amazing, our chapter is just absolutely so kind to us. I'd like to thank the security and law enforcement that's not only We want to thank them not only for their help with us with our event tonight, but for their work every day to keep us safe, their diligence. They put in that hard work every single day, putting their lives on the line for us. I could not continue this without thanking a couple more really important people to our chapter. I want to thank Paige and Ashley. You guys have been there for us week in and week out. It's been really hard, but you guys have been so supportive to our chapter here, and you've helped us grow into what we are today. So you've been willing to work with us and all of our ambitious goals. We thank you for that. Most of all, thanks to Turning Point USA for supporting our chapter and for giving us the resources to pull off an event of this amazing size. If you guys are interested in starting your own chapter, please check out the TPUSA table that we have here tonight, or go to tpusa.com/get-involved. We would love to help you guys get plugged into this organization. Finally, we encourage you to attend our biggest event of the year, America Fest, this December in Phoenix, Arizona. That's a really amazing event that you guys do not want to miss. TPUSA is committed to safeguarding the freedom of expression and the robust exchange of ideas to protect everybody's right to speak and be heard. Disruption during this event will not be allowed. Any disruptive individual will be immediately removed from this event. With that said, please join me in honoring Charlie Kirk by holding up those signs that you guys had on your table. If you don't have a sign, just give a yell. Let's cheer it up real loud for Charlie. Thank you guys so much. We'll get started in just a minute.
My name is Charlie Kirk, and I love America because I love talking about people I disagree with. Started an organization that's now on 1,000+ campuses to save the greatest culture and country ever to exist.
Our family is divided. We're divided the same way the nation is divided. Will anything ever be remedied? A nation divided against itself will not stand, neither will a family divided against itself.
Why do you think your son is conservative? You as a father should listen to your son.
I used to be, at one point, on my father's side. Upon doing my own research and seeing things firsthand, I've switched sides. We talk every day about politics to the point where it's divided us.
Father-son divide is more important than politics. Really try to come down at what generational perspective do they have. Never let politics get in the way of the beautiful relationship between father and son.
And my question for you is, do you have any hate against the LGBT community?
How could I hate that which I have a heart for? I might not agree at that for some of the lifestyle choices that some people make, but of course, and if someone said, Charlie, what's your view on marriage? I say, I believe marriage is between one man and one woman. Do I have hate in my heart for somebody that doesn't choose the lifestyle that I believe that God laid out in the scriptures? Of course not. I go around universities and have challenging conversations because that's what was so important to our country, is to find our disagreements respectfully, because when people stop talking, that's when violence happens. You can see that happening all across the world.
What kind of achieve from that meeting?
Well, because I love talking to people I disagree with. When people stop talking, that's when you get violence. That's when civil war happens. Because you start to think the other side is so evil and they lose their humanity.
First, I just want to say I don't agree with you on a lot of stuff, but I really respect, and I think you don't agree with me on a lot of stuff, but I really respect that you'll have a dialogue. I think one of the big problems in this country right now is, people can't have a dialogue. People, don't even know how to, have a dialogue and use logic and, have an actual argument like you do. So how do we improve that as a country? How do you think we get more people that can argue, on both sides of the table?
I think this event is a great example of it, right? I think that this event is, we need to have differing opinions. We need to have people that don't share the same worldview and see which one is better and try to find common bond. You should have your own discussions like this every day. You should try to model it, try to have, back and forth, and that's what makes the country strong and great. Civil dialogue. Alex Clark is one of our most amazing team members. She has been with Turning Point USA for 7 years. Six years.
I was supposed to do this event with Charlie. And I saw a video. We were all showing up. She said that Team USA's presence was putting lives in danger. That we were putting lives in danger. I think you're confused. The bullets only ever go one way. You're safer with us than we are with you. My name is Alex Clark, and I'm the host of Culture Apothecary. That is Turning Point USA's top charting health and wellness podcast. And I think that you should know that this is the biggest crowd Turning Point USA has ever pulled on a tour. There's over 6,500 people here today. We are witnessing the most powerful conservative youth movement in the history of America. I love you too. We're a family, aren't we? Speaking of family, there is a very special guest that I want to acknowledge tonight. Caleb, who is the Utah Valley University team.
Excuse me.
Here, there 2 weeks ago, hosted Charlie. He's actually the only kid at that tour stop to get a solo photo with Charlie Kirk before he was killed. Caleb, would you please come up on stage?
Where's Waldo?
Absolutely incredible that he showed up tonight. Charlie will be very proud of him. And proud of all of you for still coming. I was hired by Charlie in 2019, but it wasn't until I gave a speech in 2023 at our Young Women's Conference where I was railing on hormonal birth control, talking about how predatory the fertility industry was and the dangers that daycare can have on childhood attachment, that Charlie said, I had no idea that Alex Clark was so based. She's insane. I love it. That was the best compliment that Charlie Kirk ever gave me. So I have a question for you, Utah. Are you insane enough for Charlie Kirk? Are you based enough? If you are expecting a funeral, if you came to mourn the death of America, the death of masculinity and femininity, of faith, of truth, then you are at the wrong event. It is not over. It is not even close. I
I'm not here to eulogize Charlie Kirk. I am here to pass the torch on to every single one of you. Tonight, each of us certainly feels the weight of this loss. But what we don't do, what we refuse to do, is bow to despair. Charlie Kirk did not spend his too short 31 years on this earth building a global movement so that it could all fall apart and we could cry over its ashes. He was building something that would outlast him. And no one knows that better than his wife and our new CEO, Erica Kirk. I've seen many online this week speculating, how is Erica able to keep going? How is she able to smile amidst hosting the Charlie Kirk Show? Let me tell you why. It is because Erica Kirk has a supernatural peace and strength that God gives to his children that surpasses all peace, all understanding. That is why. When Charlie was only a teenager, a guy with no title, no degree, no connections, no blue check mark on Twitter, Charlie started Turning Point USA. And he didn't ask for permission. He didn't wait for legacy media to give him a platform. He did it himself. While the conservative establishment was writing op-eds speculating why Gen Z is disengaged or why young people will always be liberal, Charlie Kirk was busy going out to college campuses, setting up tables and asking the left to prove him wrong. And guess what? They couldn't then, and they still couldn't now. Eventually, young people started to take notice. And at first, Charlie was an interesting curiosity. Next, he was a celebrity. And then they saw him as a hero. And now, finally, evil live on as a martyr. Evil thought that it could silence him, but evil forgot something. Martyrs don't disappear, they multiply. Charlie was always thinking ahead practically about how to grow the conservative movement. He knew the right couldn't just speak to young men, we had to reach young women too. If conservatives couldn't speak to the millions of girls who care about pop culture and fashion and relationships and health and wellness, then it was going to hit a dead end. Charlie and I agreed on this, and he was the only one who understood my urgency without hesitation. Most importantly, he listened. He asked what I thought about what was resonating with undecided female voters and young women. The left claims that Charlie Kirk was a misogynist, that he hated women. The reality is Charlie Kirk loved women enough to tell them the truth. Throughout the last several years, when I pitched my ideas, Charlie replied by saying, let's go flip culture upside down. He let me create my first show, Politics, covering pop culture from a conservative perspective, which eventually evolved last year into the wellness podcast I now host called Culture Apothecary. Charlie wanted to fight the culture war and win. And on Culture Apothecary, I talk about healing a sick culture in order to win the culture war. We are sicker than we've ever been, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So I interview the experts about relationships and parenting. We even talk about theology. We talk about corruption in our food system and the pharmaceutical industry, which is keeping Americans sick. And we do it all through the lens of truth. Charlie knew that if we wanted to win the culture war, we have to start at home with the women, the real change makers, the culture shifters, the ones who hold the key to revitalizing the American family and therefore our nation. It's women. was the way to reach the young moms. I told him women may not all exactly agree on your gun stance or immigration, but they did agree on one thing, and that is that America was sick, that our children are on a downward health spiral that cannot be ignored. Charlie trusted me, and he said, then let's seize the common ground. Let's make TPUSA awesome. That choice may very well have altered American history, because it was Charlie Kirk who called and urged Bobby Kennedy to join forces with President Trump.
My friend.
American children today have a chance at living a long and healthy life because of Charlie Kirk. Not just me. The fix is not going to come by seeking useless compromises with the people who have poisoned us. It won't come from Congress, and by tweeting from the sidelines. It will come from courage. You are never going to heal a sick culture by blending in with it. You will only heal a sick culture by speaking out apart from it. And I don't know what each of your stories are, but I do know this. Each of you came here tonight for a reason. Your calling might be loud, like Charlie's or like mine. It also could be as quiet as a whisper. Your call might bring you to a stage like this. I suspect that you know as much. Charlie Kirk refused to waste a single moment. Every second of his life was deliberately spent. Standing and manipulation TPUSA tried to preserve the soul of America. It was as if he sensed time pressing in and on him, some inner clock reminding him how fleeting life was. And so he lived urgently, purposely, driven to make every minute count. Do you feel your clock ticking? It is for each of us. The good news is that you and I have the same time in a day that Charlie Kirk had. And I want you to remind me of that when I can't find something to wear. So now let me ask you, will you waste yours? Will you rise up? Ever since Charlie was taken from us, his snagged thoughts. Understand those same thoughts have been all of us could have done more in the past. We have an opportunity now to for the future. The lesson of Charlie's life is that one person fully surrendered to God and fully fearless in the face of the wider culture that changed the course of history. We have to stop standing in our own way. Are you insane? Be honest about what it is that's stopping you. You are addicted to old processed food that is slowly killing your body and mind and keeping you from having the force of energy that you need to take back this country and it's time to quit. If you're too busy scrolling on your phone to think for fingerprint, it's time to put the phone down. Dating a long-term relationship. So, Nail it down or break it off. Idea. If a woman is with a snap string, in the words of Demi Lovato, don't look across things like life will last forever because we learned a couple weeks ago it won't. Maybe it's negative and in the perfect time is fun as never. Not funny. As Charlie liked to say, more kids than you can afford.
Where there's nothing bad. You look Rebecca Rocks Radio.
Oh, I hope you all live here. That way you've ever seen. And it won't be an honor. If you stop going to church with the insurance company, you might or not take if you're already going to church, so when was the last time you heard about the non-believer? Do you know how? Break the chains, put down the phone, skip up, eat your hand, take that home, reclaim your future. Oh, I'm done. Let's get that big deal open. I hear you got the Team USA shirt on, you've got the lanyard on. You've got the company here to go to Instagram. Should you take the next step? Have you started the chapter? Have you joined one that already exists? Have you prepared to door knock with Turning Point action ahead of the midterms? Are you plugged in with the Turning Point Education Homeschool Co-op near you?
That's the trick.
Imagine a nation where children grow up fearless and faithful, where fathers lead with courage and not passivity, where mothers prioritize to go home, where truth is spoken without apology. The America that Charlie Kirk envisioned, and that is the America that Erica Kirk will spend the rest of her life carrying on. And not because Erica ever planned to, not because she wanted to, but because she has been called. You are being called. Are you listening and paying attention to what it is you are being called to do? Are you ready at a moment's notice to say, yes, God, here I such a full, quiet famous, lived free from fear. He placed his trust in God to fill in the rest. That courage let him do and say the things that others wouldn't. He talked fearlessly about abortion. He talked about saving yourself for marriage. He talked about Islam coming from the West. He talked about GtaV residuals. He simultaneously loves every man, believed that we should be free to criticize their government, no more, no less. Charlie was continuously mocked and ridiculed. He was misquoted and shamed. He was lied about. And finally, in the end, he was murdered in this very state. There will never be another person like Charlie Kirk. God doesn't send carbon copies of his faithful servants. But you don't have to be Charlie. You don't have to have a podcast or be on stage like this one. You just have to be ready to obey God. Repent from the sin that is controlling your life. Join that church group. Leave that toxic codependent girl. Be a mother. Be a father. Live with holiness and lead with conviction. We fear God, not blessed.
All that consciousness, yes,
You are called, you are needed, you are chosen. Charlie in the fire. Charlie needed me and all of us to be absolutely tenacious and insane and respectful. To be convinced. If you're not making the God angry, you're not making already important. Utah, are you ready to heal the sin culture? Thank you so much, Utah. Thank you. We love you.
I am like, circumstances, foundation, right, up down, and same. When I say always so I decided rather than explaining to college and major audiences around the country the importance of the U.S. Constitution, federalism, separation of powers, of free markets, of civil society. And when I first heard him speak, still in his teenage years, I was immediately captured by his message, and I knew that this was someone who was going to go places. I had my then teenage daughter recently reminded me that that day I met Charlie, I immediately to my daughter as the future president of the United States.
Ready for some real excitement? Better than living inside track. Complete with 3 miles to the Diamond Casino and Resort.
After he passed, still on a regular basis. I find myself wishing that day had never happened. These are tragic. It's now on take the signals from Charlie, the life giver, the messages that he himself so keep it around and find. Carrying that message and to keep his charm America as strong as it was against the American way. Educated and, of course, fellow citizens about the beauty and ways in which our system of government has been misused and abused by a small handful of elites who don't have our interests at heart and certainly aren't wedded to the ideals of the American family and the U.S. Constitution. So what exactly do we need to focus on before? Well, there are a few things that come in right away. Charlie believed in the power of ideas. He knew that free speech in a society as diverse as ours isn't necessarily possible. But he knew that free people, when given the chance, can counter censorship effectively when constructive. He can help.
Last month I told you about this phone trick that's paying off people's head all over the country. I recently posted about the fact that I'm 32 years old. I've been $53,487 and plus the mortgage. So I tried it out now for around 30 days.
You got that out.
I know you're probably thinking again that I'm going to tell you something. This one thing really fresh. If you're ready, get it down. There's almost no competition, and you basically only need about 2 minutes a day. I love it. On my phone, turn on my Wi-Fi connection, activate a simple 9-second phone
And 7. Another phone.
When I first saw this on the news, I honestly thought it was a scam. I didn't believe people making 3 times my salary, so I gave it a shot anyway. And look, this was my bank account balance at 214. Right before I used the phone trick I'm about to show you. After using the trick, I the balance of my account at 5:43 p.m. It's only been 3 hours. Look how much it shot up. I still don't get the tech stuff behind it. That doesn't matter. It works on any phone, computer, or laptop. I can literally go to the ATM and take out every dollar I've earned. This is crazy. I don't touch physical products. I don't deal with factories.
And 17. Careful.
I've never had money like this. It's paid off all my debt. It honestly feels unreal. I'm just glad I didn't wait because I started seeing results on day 1. I added the video I learned down below. You know exactly how to set this up with your own laptop. It only takes a few clicks. You don't need anything fancy. It even works on old phones. So click below and watch the video. God bless.
Let's get those bets in. Bets it out below.
Probably thinking
somehow silence an idea, but ideas, especially good ones, are stubborn. They outlive us. They outlast fishing. They are carried as Charlie by ordinary men and women. They simply refuse to be
Fuck that one up.
to do the same. Let us refuse. Refuse resignation. Refuse despair. Refuse the lie that the truth must be whispered. Charlie Kirby is tragically gone, but his example, the highest tribute we can possibly offer him, consists of lives lived,
Shit's rigged.
lives of faith, family and country, lives of conviction, strong enough to challenge the world, lives of charity, deep enough to change it. May Almighty God bless Charlie's family and memory. May God bless Charlie's children and may God bless this country.
I got a hit. No, I didn't.
And at 17.
Stay.
Care for another card? That's an 8. Got a 10 here.
Buzz.
Spencer Cox,
Out.
Representative Andy Banks, the Honorable Jason Chaffetz.
Let's get those bets in. And no more bets. Good luck, folks. And 20. We have 11.
Welcome, everyone. How we doing, everyone?
Ooh, lucky 13.
I was saying to everyone backstage, it's great to be in Utah. You know you're in Utah because everyone's hopped up on Mountain Dew.
Get it down.
And Alex was calling people their Vincents, like Samuel the Labanite. So we like to see that. So that's good stuff. I love it.
That's 3.
This is really we wanted to host today. Hey guys, appreciate it. We wanted to join everybody today just to kind of go back to the horrific events that happened on the 10th of this month. There are tons of people on the stage that we have today that have different perspectives all around the horrible murder of my friend Charlie Kirk. So we wanted to first thank, particularly the men and women in law enforcement here in the state of Utah that have been so incredible.
16 bust. Oh, yeah. Classic man right there.
Let's get those bets in.
God bless our police.
Bets in our club.
Thank you.
Wanted to thank all the medical personnel that helped that day, especially at Timothy. It was a horrific day for so many, and this the best in the state of Utah were there to try to save Charlie's life, and everyone should know that and know how incredible that work was done. So God bless those medical personnel. They did everything they possibly could.
13, what has he got? 7, 17. He's got to stay. I got to hit.
Lastly, I want to recognize who was at UVU on the day of. If you wouldn't mind standing up, because we just God bless each and every one of you, especially those students.
And no more bets. Good luck, folks.
God bless you. Thank you for coming back. God bless you.
We have 6.
15, Deluxe got
So
6.
I wanted to start today just by going back.
Got to stand on this one.
Obviously, we have 3 different perspectives from
11.
the tragedy that happened. I want to start with kind of what happened, and Jason was there that day with his kids. And so, how are you holding up? How are you doing? It's tough. It's really tough. First of all, United States of America.
Double down.
Another card. 21.
Bam.
Got us a 15.
Only in a country like the United States can you have a tour with a person like Charlie Kirk going out and speaking his mind.
This summer.
Get it down.
And the tragedy is still very wrong. I think it is for all of us.
That's 19.
It's still, I treat
16 out of 10. I have to stay. I want to hit.
That morning, I didn't go out with the ice. I didn't go out with
Bust. Oh, that's.
Charlie, come with us.
Yeah,
It's
there we
always fun. It's like, I don't know if I can do both. And Charlie would never turn down a trip to ice, and he could squeeze it in when I could. And but I also have a daughter who recently graduated from there. She married her husband with her. I was there. My wife parked in the car and coming in.
He's got 7.
And that shop was fired.
Well, so I got a hit. Got a hit.
Saw him fall back. And it was scary because I didn't know if there was going to be more shots fired. You know, I see some of these shootings and didn't know if that was the end. So my family, there were 4 of us there. There were 3,000 that lived through that trauma. And that should never happen.
Dealer's got 16. 13. I'm going to stay.
A lot of us,
Stand. Dealer's going to bust.
a lot of us that are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Bam.
If you're betting, get it down.
You see some more of it, so you know that all of us are up there with the name. All of us are just
10, 20. I'm going to stand.
We're all members of the church. But we had like an unimaginable scene just on Sunday in Michigan. I guess what I learned from this, though, is the heroism and the resiliency. And we're going to talk more about this. But this, to me, this guy right here, he's standing 16 feet, you put it out.
Bam.
You have Michaela and others who lived and worked with Charlie for a decade. I knew Charlie. I was friends with Charlie. I'd seen him on the side of the set of Fox and Friends because he was guest hosting. Joe right there. It's a great turning point audience and family. Went down by here. What a strength. What a pillar. And I'm glad you're here with us now.
9.
Thank you so
And
much.
he's got a 7. I'm going to double down.
Got an 18.
I want to start by just complimenting the amount of work that went into the state. Your guys' team was incredibly on top of it. I think the Health and Human Services Secretary had contacted me directly and was in the midst of all of that. What was kind of going through your head at the moment that this happened?
21. Double down.
I guess I can kick this off because I think what we're going to do is we're going to
Oops.
do
I
some
think I hit
questions.
the wrong one.
And we're
I
going to
stayed.
open
I
discussion
hit the
if
wrong
that's okay
fucking
with
button.
everybody, and then we're going to take some questions from students at the end of this. But how has it changed you politically? Where are you at since that? Bring us back to like the moment of where you are, and where are you at? Where's your head at today? So I had several events that. I'm gonna do the Charlie Kirk thing and say, guys, let's facilitate a conversation here. I promise that we'll get to the end of it and we'll ask questions. Is that cool?
And 16 here. Look at that.
That's so shit.
By the way, this is the most turning point thing ever to have Fox News, Governor Cox, and Andy Biggs, the former Freedom Caucus chair, all together on a stage. That's the most turning point I've seen ever. So
That's down.
Sorry about that. Tight time and welcome.
Bam.
We'll be back at Utah State University. We're so proud. The turning point at Utah State University. And look at the turnout, the largest crowd ever.
Get it down.
These are my ladies. They're special. So that day I had several speaking engagements, and I was back in the Capitol when my assistant came in and she pulled me out. She said, "We need you immediately." That's never a good sign when you're the governor. And I walked out, and there was a Captain Air Highway Patrol, and he said, "There's been a shooting at Utah Valley University, and Charlie Kirk has been shot." And even as the words are coming in there, I'm having a hard time processing them. I said, that can't be. And,
12 on the 10.
Are you sure? Because sometimes when these things happen, there's a fog of war and you get bad information, right? And so
somebody handed me their phone.
See, I fucked up.
And the video was already there. And
Should have stayed. Classic hand you stay on, too.
I can't
You know, shows a 10 and you got a 12.
For so many of you, especially those of you who were there. And immediately, 30 seconds later, there was a call from the White House. And it was from the Situation Room. It was Marco Rubio. He was there. The Secretary of State was there for something else. I've known Marco for years. Friends. And he said, hey, what is happening? And I said, Marco,
I got it.
can tell us exactly what's happening. So then it's just...
I got 3 low cards in a row. He's got the 10. I got to stay.
And we were just trying to figure out which hospital was he at. What's the latest? So we were in constant communication. I spoke to the president, to President Trump, less than an hour later. And we kept getting the information back, and it was looking worse and worse and worse. My first thought was just, please don't die. Like, please, just we gotta keep him alive. And then I knew about Charlie's wife, and we had 2 little kids, and that's the humanity of all of this, right? And I think it changed all of us, because what I really figured quickly is this wasn't an attack on Charlie Kirk because of his political beliefs. We knew that. It was political assassination, and people were afraid to say that. You should not be afraid to call things what they are. That's what it was. The second thing that mattered was we have to find the person responsible. We have to hold them accountable, and we will do that. Because I know our law enforcement here in Utah, and they're the best in the world. There was no way that this person was going to get away with it, and they came through. The third part, though, was this was more than just an attack on Charlie Kirk. This was an attack on free speech. It was an attack on America. It was an attack on American ideals. It was treasonous. It was, we have not had a high-profile assassination like this in my lifetime. I'm 50 years old, so it's been 55 years since we've had anything like this. And the weight of that is sitting on all of us. And the fourth thing I knew is the Utahns weren't going to riot. They weren't going to start cars on fire. They weren't going to survive.
That's a problem.
I'm going to get into that question in a second, but I mean, when's the last time you saw a left-wing speaker on campus? When was the last time you saw, riots that came out of a left-wing just meltdown? We saw the Summer of Love, right, that happened in 2020 with everything. Our side did what? Turned to prayer. Everyone here, I think, that we saw across the state of Utah turned to prayer. We saw that immediately. And that's a huge credit to every single person that's easy. I want to jump in on this. You had a close relationship with Charlie. What do you think the hardest battle is that you foresee in this new political environment?
The country appears to be so ethnically divided. That's really part of our problem. We tried to have a prayer, a world prayer before the House, and the Democrats shouted us down.
Can I get anything else?
Ever. It was amazing. I view that as when we want to talk about moving things forward for what's best for the country, kind of like the way Charlie did. He was always wanting to engage in debate because he believed our ideas were right. We're fighting people who want to crush ideas as opposed to engage and be willing to admit that someone else just might have a better idea. And that's the problem. And I would just say this about a lot of people wait until they're called to do something when they stand up.
Yeah, I think you're right, QC.
What you guys have done is you've seen the need to do something, and you've engaged, and you've put some hope behind it. You've done it with honesty, integrity, clarity, purpose, and principle. That's what Charlie did. And that, if we're going to be part of the nation, it Trump. I haven't really shared this story, but I'd like to really quick because it is not about me, okay? But every once in a while,
This is not particular. But I had the opportunity to interact with President Trump. And that night of the shooting, at like 11:30 p.m., the president called. And now normally when President Trump calls you, and again, doesn't happen very often, he'll say, Jason, this is your favorite president, Donald Trump. And when he wasn't president, he'd say, hello, Jason, this is your favorite president, Donald Trump. And then he went back to, hey, Jason, this is your, he didn't do that this time. He called and he said, how you doing? I've seen you. Yeah, this is hard, isn't it? And we had about a 15-minute discussion. Now, this is about the most amazing president you could ever possibly imagine. And then near the end of the conversation, I said, Mr. President, how are you doing? You do, Charlie? He said, yeah, this one really hurts. He said, I don't know that I would be president of the United States without Charlie Kirk. I really don't know. And it was just an amazing moment. The guy, I don't know where his energy comes from. It's never ending. But we have that amazing moment, and I know that Charlie was such a good friend, so inspirational, and did more for people under the age of 30 than anybody I've ever seen in our lifetime, and I hope that continues. It's so exhilarating to see so many people here just grab hold of that mantle and keep going. Don't ever stop. Don't agree.
Hello. What can I do for you?
I want to get into some of the tough questions.
No problem. I'll scramble the signal for 1 minute.
But I'll start with over in that corner here, since we just went with Jason. How do you view the violent pockets of politically and religiously charged violence like Antifa and the group that what we just saw happen in Michigan this week, taking advantage of soft Christians, softer approaches with members of church, and really the soft Utah approach that has enabled some people that are mentally ill. What's the viewpoint on that? I don't know. What's the take on first?
Joe, if you have constantly a group of people that demonize and dehumanize, and you use the worst possible rhetoric, you're going to actually trigger some people to actually engage with dangerous and violent acts. And so that's what we see. And when you take a leader like Donald Trump, who is the leader, I would assume everybody in here would acknowledge he's a great president and he's a great leader. Let's think what he's done. Let's see, multiple impeachments, investigations. The FBI went after him before he was actually sworn in, and they came up with a Russian hoax. And the FBI did that with Clapper. And when you see this kind of demonization that way, first of all, you kill trust in your government. And if you can't trust your government, all of a sudden, trust in your fellow man gets a little bit weaker. And the rhetoric continues to go strong. I get back to what I was saying about Congress. And some of the stuff I've heard from various members of Congress after Charlie's death have been to continue to perpetuate the very language that actually causes and inspires those who are not sane and who are evil to actually come after people. And you throw gas on the fire. And that's exactly the opposite of what Charlie was doing. So I would just say, for instance, if you have rhetoric that demonizes the LDS Church, which if you remember, you've encountered that.
We had some of that this week.
We saw some of it this week. And it takes some...
Really, this whole month. I mean, it's just been a rough month for a lot of members of the church, for between the death of President Nelson,
You have the Michigan issue, and then obviously Charlie's assassin.
Yeah, all of this,
Utah.
this attack on us, it's going to trigger somebody like who may not have been rational. Who